Burial, burial, burial is my school. Best education reservoir for young learners just like me. Burial, burial.
Hello, great pupils of grade 3. How are you? I believe you are doing great at home. My name is Miss Jane. Today I'll be taking you on English language, and our topic today is adverbial clause of condition. Now, what is adverbial clause of condition? This adverbial clause of condition gives you the circumstance under which something happens. It makes you to know the circumstance that an event had taken place. What led to it? What made this thing to have happened? What was the condition that this thing came to be? So I say that adverbial clause of condition gives the circumstance, that's a kind of like a condition under which something happens. And I'll say, remember I've looked at it, I say it gives the circumstance under which something happens. I can also say it gives the condition under which something happens. Let's say, I will not go outside if it rains. There's a condition there. Remember, we are looking at adverbial clause of condition. As long as you are here, I won't step outside. As long as you are here, I will not count my money so that you will not get it. As long as you are here, I will not write so that you will not look at my handwriting. So if it rains, I won't go outside. There is a condition. In all the sentences that I've given, there are conditions. And I say that adverbial clause of condition gives a circumstance under which something happens. Now, when we are talking about adverbial clause of condition, it is usually introduced by subordinating conjunction, such as if. So you use this to identify your adverbial clause of condition. If, unless, whether, provided that, okay, as long as he does not talk to me, I will not allow him to touch my book. Unless he goes with me, I will not go to that place. If it rains, I will not go outside. So all these are the subordinating conjunctions. Okay, so let's look at what we have here at on the board. We say adverbial clause of condition gives the circumstance under which something happens. It tells you the circumstance under which something happens. So how do you know it? Because it tells you the circumstance. That this thing does not just happen like that. There is a condition. There was a condition. Alright. It is usually introduced by subordinating conjunctions such as if, unless, whether, provided that, on condition that, so long as long as. Remember that adverbial clause of condition gives the circumstance, or we can say tells the circumstance under which something happens. So from here we are going to look at examples in sentences. We are going to look at sentences with adverbial clause of condition. Remember the word condition. It gives you the condition in which the circumstance, or under which the circumstance had happened. I said it gives you, this is an adverbial clause of condition gives the circumstance or condition under which something happens. Let's move to our examples. Alright, here is our examples on the board. Here are the examples. Now I want you to remember that when we talk about clauses, remember that we have Alright, as I was saying, I said that we should remember that under clauses we have the main clause and subordinate clause. That's, you can say, independent clause and dependent clause. Now what we are going to underline, we are in each of these sentences, we are going to see the main clause and the subordinating clause. Now remember that I told us last time that when we looked at clauses, that the subordinating clause depends on the main clause. It cannot stand alone. So we have, I introduced some of the subordinating conjunctions. Now we are going to look at a typical sentence which have the main clause and the subordinating clause. So now we have number one. Let's look at the instruction. The instruction says underline the adverbial clause of condition in the sentences. Now before we start looking at the sentences, know that each sentence has two parts, and one part we'll be looking at one part carries the adverbial clause of condition, because one part also goes with the subordinating conjunction. The part that goes with the subordinating conjunction is what we'll underline as an adverbial clause of condition. So let's look at the sentences. We have one. If it rains, we will not go out. Now looking at it, we have if as a subordinating conjunction. So what do? We underline this. So that's where we stop. That means that this part depends on this. But remember that we are looking at adverbial clause of condition. So if there's a condition here, if, what is the condition? If it rains, we will not go out. Now number two, she will come if you invite her. What is the condition that she will come? If you invite her. That's our adverbial clause of condition underlined. Number three, you won't pass unless you work hard. You won't pass unless you work hard. Unless you work hard. Now, a kind of trick or like a rule that guides you will be for you to identify your subordinating conjunction. Let's look at number 4. That's Matthews. That's Matthews. Unless I am mistaken. Unless I am mistaken. Number 5, the last. You can play the game provided that you follow the rules. Provided that you follow the rules. Alright, great learners of grade 3, we have almost come to the end of a lesson. Just that at this point I'm going to give you an assignment that you're going to do for me to show how far you've gone or how well you understand the lesson. Alright, great pupils of grade 3, here is your assignment. Number 1, or let's look at the instruction first. Underline the adverbial clause of condition in these sentences. Number 1, if you want my advice, I'll be at home. Number 2, we will have plenty to eat, provided that not more than 20 people turn up. Number 3, she will take this medicine whether she likes it or not. Number 4, he won't go to university unless he studies very hard. Number 5, you can take my car so long as you drive carefully. You can take my car so long as you drive carefully. Alright, we've come to the end of our lesson today. I hope you've learned something. Try and do your homework. Alright, do have a great time at home. Bye.